Hi everyone, my name is Adrian and I'm an associate here with Next Action Associates, and I'd like to speak with you about a dear topic to me, which is how can you improve your productivity at work using a tool you already use but probably misuse, the calendar. How can you supercharge your productivity just using the calendar? Well, when I enter into a coaching, right, when I start doing what I do, GTD coaching with clients, I'll directly go into the calendar because that's a gold mine for me in terms of information. And I generally ask two questions, and that is, do you put into your calendar so-called important things, right? Things you do not want to miss, that you do want to be reminded of on that day, but that could be done on another day. And most people say, well, yeah, I do. And the follow-up question to that is, well, do you find yourself as well moving a lot of pieces in your calendar a lot of times during the day? And to that question, most people answer as well, yes, I do. And that gives me a little bit of it gives me a big hint. It tells me the calendar is being misused because it should be a tool that you simply trust and follow, right? So it goes to the question, do you trust your calendar or don't? And there is no real middle ground here. Either you trust it or you don't trust it. There is no in between. Now, how can you improve your trust? Why would you want to improve your trust in your calendar? Quite frankly, if you don't trust your calendar, which is for most people the hard landscape, well, you'll spend a lot of time renegotiating and wasted time because basically you have thought through normally your calendar, and now assuming that good thinking was put into the calendar, now you are rethinking what you already thought about. So you're just being inefficient because, well, you're redoing and repeating the same actions over and over and over again. And as you know, with GTD, it's all about having a thought once and then parking the reminder in the appropriate place. Now, why would most people misuse the calendar? Well, that's probably because they only have that tool. And I remember before GTD, it was my go-to. It was my productivity tool. Everything was in there. And in that sentence is the mistake. Everything was in there. What does that mean exactly? Well, my brain, every single time I would open up my calendar and face it, I would have to rethink, as I just said, what is in there. Because I had two nature of stuff in my calendar. First of all, have tos. Right? Have tos is clearly the hard landscape. But I also had want to, could do, would be nice if it would be done today. Important stuff, emotionally important stuff for me was also in there. So I had two different nature of stuff instead of clearly defined, that's the hard landscape. And everything else would need to land somewhere else. Now, what would go exactly in the calendar, right? And only that, three things. First of all, you would input daily specific information. So that would be all the information you need to have on that day that would show up at that day, on that day, not before, not afterwards, right? That's, I think, one of the biggest opportunities for most clients so far I've worked with. They barely have information on the top line of their calendar. The top line is usually the all-day events, at least in the Google calendars and the Outlook calendars. The top line is all-day events. And in all-day events, well, you can input as much as you like. It won't bother you if there are a lot of stuff, as long as, and that's the key, it's fitting because it's daily specific information. The second thing that would come up at the top of my calendar are the daily specific actions. So things I need to take on that day or do on that day. But I could do in the morning, I could do in the evening, and I could do whatever basically, but it would need to happen on that day. Typically it would be call mom for her birthday. Well, I can do that in the morning and noon, right? I just need to make sure that I do it on that day, not before and not after. Everything else, so we would have daily specific information, daily specific tasks, and all the other, meaning time specific tasks for normal people that would be meetings. All that would land in the time of your calendar. So if I quickly show you here my calendar, you would see here at the top, the first thing here, I need to set aside clothes needed for tomorrow. Well, that's a day specific action, right? I'm flying off tomorrow, so I need to make sure I pack today. But I can do that in the morning or in the evening. I do have information that I need to have today. I have a meeting later on, and this is the material I need to go over for a specific meeting, right? So I have it there. So again, day-specific action and day-specific information. All the rest is in here. Now, there's no important information in there. It's just what I need to do at what time. Everything else has a place, right? Without going over it in detail, it would land here in my task, certain structure, which we teach when we do GTD. We teach to make sure everything that needs your attention lands on a proper place, but just the counter is not the proper place for everything. It's a very simple tweak, but what it does when you start thinking in that way is when you review everything you need to do, you start with the calendar and just know, okay, this is where I need to be. And so I don't need to be thinking about anything else, right? The moment I have time, like here after finishing this, if the video was good, I'll have a bit of time before my meeting. Everything's prepared, so then I'll know, okay, I have 20 minutes. Well, what can I do? And then I go into my can-do lists, right? What are all the things I can do in the time I have right now? Which is really, really helpful to make trusted decisions, which in the end, everything what we do here with GTD is to arrive at that point. Are you making trusted decisions? Do you trust your decisions and are sure that you could be doing a lot of things, but you're doing the one thing you need to be doing? Or are you experiencing interruptions, internal interruptions when you're working? Usually when you are, that's because you wonder, could I be doing something else? Isn't there something better I could be doing? And using the calendar in that way really helps you focus on what matters most to you, which is what you need to attend right now. I hope that helps. Give us a shout out if it does. I'll be happy to hear what you thought of that. And until next time, I wish you a very productive day. Cheers.